You alright?
When you remove a glove from your hand, there's a way to do it, and this is not the way.
Oh yeah, look, you got a little half finger there.
There you go, got it now.
You got it out?
Only took about 10 minutes, but time is money.
You do get yourself into some pickles, don't you?
Know.
Hi guys, Dan Hendriksen here. We are at Torquay Golf Club and we are in our lovely new outdoor studio that we've set up for us here at the club. We have got a little video for you today about this man's wedges. Now I've called him a guest in the past, he didn't like that. I don't know what to call him anymore. But anyway, let's go and have a little chat with him.
I get called a lot of things in my life, but guest is by far
That's got to be the worst.
It's not the worst.
Well, it's not,
I promise you. I actually quite like it.
Right, we played golf yesterday, didn't we?
We did, yes.
And we found a small problem.
We did. Yeah, I was aware of the problem before we filmed, and I knew it was going to be an issue, but obviously with the lockdown, not being able to play much, and not being able to do much testing to get numbers, I was aware of the problem, but it was highlighted yesterday. 2
wedges that you've just put into the golf bag. Nice new Cobra King wedges.
Yeah.
So what lofts have you got on those?
So I've got 52 degrees and 58.
Okay, and you're seeing a little bit of a gap has appeared, hasn't there?
There has, yeah. I mean, I was carrying 5 wedges last season.
Were you? Wow.
I was, yeah.
Okay.
So I've gone down.
Okay, yeah, you had some Vokies in the bag.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
So I had SM7s, and now I've gone down to a 4 wedge combination.
Right.
But I'm thinking of getting rid of my most lofted wedge.
Your 61 little
61
trusty
degrees.
rusty,
Yep.
which has been oh my word, that's gone. So you've got a pitching wedge which is what loft?
It's 46 degrees.
46 degrees.
Yeah.
And you've got then a 52 and a 58.
Yeah.
And you're feeling that I mean, what you said to me yesterday is you felt that there was like a 20 to 30 yard gap between your pitching wedge and now the new 52.
Correct.
Okay, so what I want to do today is I just want to get you to hit some shots, and let's look at the numbers of what they're all getting.
Yeah.
And just see if what you've done by sort of putting in 52 and 58, whether that's the correct combination or whether we need to sort of have a little play around with that a little bit. Little wedge fit for you.
Cool, thank you.
Right, we've hit a few now with the 58 degrees. How far do you sort of say that you hit your 58?
I'd have said sort of 95 yards, roundabout.
And that's more carry yardage.
Carry yardage,
That's on an average. So can you go a bit longer than that if you want to?
Yeah, I've probably got 100 carry in it if I go at it.
Okay.
But generally, I'll be sort of 90 to 95 yards.
So 90 to 95 is where you're comfortable with that club?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, let's just have a quick look at your numbers from it. Okay, so what numbers are you seeing from what Quad has just given us on there then, Lester?
So saying I'm averaging 95 yards.
Yeah.
I've got one in there 88, which was an awful strike.
Slightly poor strike.
Yeah, so I'm probably sort of 95, 96, 97 in that area, I'd say, if you took that 88 one out.
So that's spot on, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's pretty much where you want it to be.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
And you can see there's that 100-yard one that you've got in there as well, the third one down, that 100 yards.
Slightly less spins, it might have been slightly thinner.
Yeah,
maybe.
It might have just clipped it out there a little bit longer, but so that's pretty much where we want it. Okay, let's look at 52 then. So 52, how far do you think you hit your 52 degree wedge now?
I think somewhere between 110, 115.
110 and 115 carry.
Yeah.
So the gap between the 58 and 52, are you comfortable with that?
I am, because I feel quite comfortable hitting a slightly softer swing with it to actually bring my yardage down that sort of round about 100-yard carry.
100,
I feel like I could do that.
Yards, is that maybe, what you kind of get into?
Yeah, I mean maybe an 80-85% swing.
Yeah.
I can get that to a 100-yard carry, which is then still 5 or so yards past my best carry with my 58.
If you hit your 58 flat out,
yeah.
Do you think you could get like 105 with that?
Possibly, but I don't think I'll have a lot of control.
No.
I'm trying to, at the moment, it's probably worth noting that I've tried to swing my wedges with a little bit more ease and we've tried to work together a bit on strike.
Yeah.
I felt like I was too quick, I was flicky, so we tried to extend through.
Yeah.
And just have a bit of rhythm to it to get that consistency back, which I feel like I had 10 years ago.
Yesterday playing with you, look so much more comfortable with your wedges.
Yeah.
So what's that looking like to you now, looking at the numbers with your 52-degree wedge?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of 109 yards.
On an average?
On average, I've got one up there at 116 and one slightly poorer strike at 108.
So I've taken these two out. The 113 you just pulled slightly.
Yeah.
And the 116 was you messing about trying to hit it harder.
Yeah.
And that just shows that you can get it up to the sort of 116, possibly pushing 120 with that if you probably gave it a bit of a thump.
Yeah.
But comfortably, you're swinging it in your, what you feel is that you're swinging easy is knocking it out there at 109 on an average.
And I'm pretty pleased with the consistency. I've got 110, 1, 2, 3 out of the sort of 6 shots.
Yeah,
so half of them I've hit at 110, which is exactly where I'd want to be, really.
Right, let's look at your pitching wedge now then. This is where the sort of game changer is.
I think this is where the gap's going to be highlighted.
Okay. So now hitting some pitching wedges.
Yep.
How far does this pitching wedge go, are you seeing on the golf course?
I'm thinking it goes sort of 130 to 135 carry with a potential of maybe even 140 in there.
So that's 20 to 25 yards,
yeah.
Potentially that 30-yard gap that you mentioned to me earlier.
Correct.
Or on the golf course yesterday.
Yeah, I mean these are all guesses because I haven't had the opportunity to use the GC2 quad as such, but it was noticeable when playing golf.
Right, what are those pitching wedges giving you, Lester? What's your average on this?
Saying that about 134.
134, yeah, 134 average carry, yeah, got that there. Okay.
Jumping all over the place with.
Yeah, I've taken out a few because you've got 2 miss hits which went 127 and 128, but you've also got one there at 145.
Yeah.
That just seemed to jump on you a little bit.
It did, yeah.
Spin. Look how low the spin went.
I don't think that's.
Should we take that out?
I don't think it's probably got it properly.
I don't think that's quite a good proper reading. I'm not sure what happened there.
130, I suppose.
131 on an average carry. So that's a 22-yard gap between your 52 and your pitching wedge.
Yeah, then that's.
Are you comfortable with that?
No, that's too big a gap for me. Particularly, I don't feel that comfortable hitting knockdown shots on my wedge. Yeah. I want something that's going to go in and bridge that gap. So
we also asked you to hit a couple of 9-irons, didn't I? So we did, further up down here we've got the 9-iron numbers, which if you look at the gap at 131 on an average with your wedge and an average of 143 with your 9-iron, okay, you've got one out there at 148, which is what you kind of can get on the golf course.
Yeah.
That gap's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm happy with that gap. Obviously I've tested my irons previously before lockdown, so I'm happy with the yardage gaps and gap in between all of the clubs. But it's this lower end of scoring zone where they're newer clubs into the bag and I wasn't too sure of my yardages. So what are we going to do about it? I think we need a club to bridge that pitching wedge to my 52 gap, so maybe 50 or 49 possibly. So we've taken the 61 out of the bag, so that does leave Lester one gap. He's got some space now to replace that 61 with something that he feels might bridge that gap with that between the pitching wedge and the gap wedge. So let's have a little look at what else we've got to play with. So you've brought down an old wedge, which is a Vokey. It's a Vokey. It's an SM7 in 50 degrees. So 50 degree SM7, but I've brought you down an SM8 48 degrees. 48 degrees. Now you had, in a previous setup, you had a 46 degree Vokey wedge. I did, yeah. Which you've now put on the wall in the studio. It's in all, yeah. I didn't like it because it was, the actual profile of the club for me was too thin. The sort of leading edge was very sharp. Yeah. And I just did not like the actual look of it when I didn't have any confidence. You didn't get on well with it. No, I didn't. You didn't really have it in the bag for a great deal of time. No, I mean it's almost new, to be honest. I used it probably 3 or 4 rounds. I didn't like it.
So what I want to do now is I want to just get you hit your 50 now, because obviously it's a club that you own, so that would be a really easy move, wouldn't it?
And a cheap move.
And a cheaper move. But then I want to see what that 48 kind of performs like. Now, putting that 48 down on the ground now, Lester, how does that look to you? Because I think this is as close to that 46 in your SM7 as we're going to get. But how does that look to you?
It looks perfectly fine, to be honest. I think because of the colouring of it, I had it in the
black. You had
black, yeah. So it made it actually appear smaller than what it actually is. So the profile. So I think in the stainless steel, it does look slightly bigger. So yeah, I think I could. To your eye, you like the look of that more than the 46. Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Well, let's hit some shots with both of those and see what numbers you get. Right, while Lester's hitting a few more shots, ideally what we're trying to do is we're trying to get that gap of that 110 that he's getting with that 52. We're trying to get it in at about 120. If we can find him a number or a club that's going to go about 120, that will perfectly bridge that gap of about 10 yards then between his pitching wedge and his 52-degree wedge.
Yeah, hate it.
You're not a fan of that, are you? You've got a right little strop on.
I remember why I got rid of it now.
You just, what is it then? Is it because it's too small a profile?
It's just too small a profile. I don't feel like I've got any confidence with that whatsoever.
And it's the thing with it is it's not. It's purely because
it's the colouring
of the colour of it.
Yeah, I'm not. Couldn't be putting that in the bag.
I'd tell you what, I could easily get in that head of yours, couldn't I, on a golf course?
You do? What do you mean you could?
It's going to be an easy work, that, isn't it? Get inside Leicester's head. Let's go now with the 48 and see how you get on with that. You're liking the look of it straight away, so instantly we've got a bit of confidence in him.
It looks very similar to the Cobra wedges, so I could easily live with that.
So we're going to hit this, but then we're going to look at the numbers and see what you're getting.
Okay, perfect. 123.
First couple of shots with the 48 then?
Yeah, I mean the strike so much better.
Oh yeah.
I was all over the face with the
black one.
With the black one, but that's more central.
Okay, so
feels
you feel,
better.
Again, is it just because the profile of the head is just that fraction bigger looking?
I would say so. I don't think there's been a massive improvement between SM7 and SM8.
Steady.
You might say there is because you sell them.
And you do.
Oh yeah, good point.
But just because of the profile of the colouring, it's just you're giving you a little bit more confidence.
I think so. Probably the actual mass of the head is similar, but like you say, the colouring of the head makes it appear so much smaller, which I like in my irons. Yeah. But not so much in my lower irons.
Okay, and your wedges.
My wedges, yeah.
Give us a smile. Yeah, there he is. Right, what numbers have you got now then?
Okay, so if we start with the 50, I was only averaging sort of 112, so it's not going much further in distance.
3 yards.
Yeah, 3 yards, which is absolutely nothing. Plus, I had no
we had
confidence
to take the first one out because you nearly shanked it.
Yeah, I mean, I had the strike of it, and everything about it just didn't appeal to me. There's no way that's going in the bag.
Okay, and then you tested the 48.
48, yeah, in the SM8. That's, I mean, I'm averaging, the consistent yards wise, it's ranging from 118 to 121 with 120 average. So that's absolutely perfect for me.
Do you know what I love about this video? Is how important that wedge fittings are, because if you think about it, if you bought a set of clubs and you said, oh well, your 46 is a wedge, so really what you need is a 50, 54, 58 or something like that. This hasn't kind of shown that, has it?
No, I mean, I would personally, if I was recommending people when they're getting fitted, go get fitted for your irons. Yeah. Make sure you've got enough time, if you are changing lower down in your bag, make sure you've got enough time to get properly fitted for your wedges and do your gapping. Don't just have an iron fitting and then the pro or whoever's fitting you says, oh, you need this, this and this. No, make sure you get properly fitted. This is important, if not more important, to get your wedges and your lower end of your bag fitted as it is your rest of your irons.
So there you go, there's a little fitting there that we've done for Lester. I think Lester's message there is so key. I always do this when I'm doing fittings for irons. I generally say to guys, you know, if they don't have time to do a full bag fit, I would rather them buy a set of irons and then get used to those irons and then have a fitting after that into what wedges they need to go to, because you could see there with Lester with the gapping with the 46 degree, and then you would never sort of recommend him going into possibly 48, but the numbers indicate slightly different. Let me know, put your comments down below. What do you think of that with Lester? Have you been through something similar yourself? And are you carrying wedges that are possibly a little bit close in sort of the numbers on the bottom, but actually when it comes to the yardages, they're coming out spot on for you? I'd like to hear what you have to say. Remember, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up if you like what you're seeing, and as always, stay safe, and we look forward to catching up with you again soon.